I definitely had a lot of money mindset challenges. Definitely things like, you have to work super duper hard to make money. And the idea that, okay, I can, obviously there is work to be done, but like every single, sale I make, I have to be really, really pushing it, really, really doing all this work. I think that was definitely a little bit of a setback because when certain things came easier than I thought, I'm like, is this a fluke? I didn't work to get this result. So like, how did this happen? So definitely that was, a thing as well. Also this idea of like deserving, right? I'm like, cause again, there's always this, there was a misalignment between what I was consciously desiring and what subconsciously was happening, right? And that is where you kind of get stuck where it's like, okay, great. I want to do this and get there, but you also don't really think you deserve it, or it takes all this work and all this stuff. So that's how I sort of noticed that I was stuck.
Hello and welcome to the Money Mindset Show, the place where we help female entrepreneurs to transform their mind so that they can achieve financial success in the least amount of time. Here, we talk about subconscious mind, we talk about money mindset shifts, money mindset blocks, a strategy so that you can bypass your own money mindset and increase your income, better your relationship with money, and grow your business. Good. Welcome, Ashley, to the Money Mindset Show. It is my absolute pleasure to have you here after, I think I have known you for a year now or so, right? By the way, if you have not listened to the episode with Nora Noel Brown about the buyer psychology, you have to. I will link it below this episode as well. That's how I know Ashley. And that's how I know the amazing membership for meals that she's going to tell us about, that she's having, the community, and all of the movement that she has created. So welcome, Ashley. Please introduce yourself. Tell us who you are, what you do, and why you do it.
Hello. Well, thank you so much for having me, Alejandra. And it's such a pleasure to be here. So my name is Ashley Ann Thomas, and I am a nail health coach. And I help women grow beautiful and healthy nails they can be proud of with the power of a simple routine. Oftentimes, unlike skincare and hair care, where we understand that it requires care and then you can focus on the aesthetics, nails are mostly commoditized, treated like sandpaper. You just put this hard coating on, you don't really care for them, and it just creates a lot of issues. So there are so many women around the world who want beautiful natural nails, but who simply don't know how to take care of them properly, or are accidentally doing the things that are going to make that goal very difficult, like certain products, really harsh treatments, etc. So I essentially help people achieve their goals with simplicity. No overcomplication, not using a million products, not having to spend a million hours on your nails, but really simple routines to get your goals. And I have clients who have 15-minute routines, who use 3 products, and their nails are absolutely thriving. So that is essentially what I do. And I will talk a little bit more about ultimately what's my background, how to get into this.
Right.
I know you might be thinking, what on earth is a nail health coach? I've never heard of that. Like, that's new. Like, what is that? Right?
Yeah.
So I've been doing nails since I was in high school, right? I was really into the big nail art space. I would watch Cute Polish and all the really big YouTubers who were doing these nail art tutorials. And it was always my therapy, right? I would do nail art, talk about nails, like, etc. Right? So once I went to college, which I went to MIT, by the way, very, very stressful, a lot of work, nail art was actually my therapy, right? So it became less of a hobby and more of a way for me to like just cope with all the academic stress. And it was just a way for me to keep myself sort of, buoyant through all, the work and the pressure, etc. And I continued with, nail art, and nails throughout my college experience. However, even though my nails look super duper pretty on the outside, after you took off the nail polish, you would see the staining, you would see the peeling, you would see the breakage. They didn't look really nice underneath. That's why, right now I have like a sheer color on. I would never have done this like 4 years ago, right? I would have just, always had a solid color because they were very stained, peeling. I would hide my nails. My right hand, like this nail would never grow. It was always breaking. So I never really understood anything about nail care, right? I just thought, okay, nail care, just nail polish, and that's it. So what ended up happening in January 2021, I was getting my clothes downstairs or like down to like in from the dryer. And because I hit my nails so hard, like 3 of them ripped off, right? Like from like the base.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was painful. It wasn't really great. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to stop trying to, staple things together, trying to fix this nail, fix that nail, have this nail be long, this nail be short. And I'm just starting from scratch, cutting my nails, and I'm going to actually learn how to take care of them, right? Now, during this time, this was during COVID. So all of us college students were at home. So as I was sort of going through my own nail journey, figuring things out, testing things, I was like, you know what? I'm bored. Let me get on TikTok, because I see other people sharing their passion on TikTok. And I started creating nail videos in March 2021. And it just sort of blew up from there, right? And I was super confused because I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not an expert. I'm just posting videos. Like, you know what I mean? Everyone's
Right,
asking all the
right.
questions, like nail growth, nail care, nail biting, all this stuff. And I'm like, who's the nail care authority? Like, who's the nail health person who's supposed to answer
The
your
nail growth.
questions?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
That's not me, right? So it's like, you know what? I'm figuring this out as well. So whatever questions they had, I just start testing things, etc. Some people were being like, yay, this really worked for me. And I'm like, great. Or some people were like, no, that's like not quite it. So it really started as this like user experience type account where I was just testing things. 2021, I was definitely not presenting myself as an authority. It was simply me testing things, sharing tips, etc. And there are people who were getting a lot of value from my free content. People would send me photos of their nails, like thank me. I'd go live. It was this really, really cool experience. And as it continued, I continued getting DMs where some people were like, okay, cool. Like, I actually need more help, right? I actually need more support. I actually need more guidance, right?
Right.
Obviously, because um, you know, understand that, when it comes to routines and, habits, it's all about the implementation and consistency. And that's what so many people struggled with. So that's what sort of snowballed into this membership eventually. Cause I had like, guides and other things, little products I'd launched, this guide and like this plan, etc. But I was like, okay, great. How can I work with people on a deeper level to actually be their coach, guide them and help them with consistency? Cause again, knowledge is really powerful, but knowledge without implementation, you don't get much from that, right?
Yeah, right.
So,
I love your whole evolution because it was really from a place of let me try this, let me explore with this, let me share this. And that we have seen that is the TikTok growth, right? Is really the space to do that. I'm curious to know from your personal perspective as a Black founder, what has been some of those challenges, points of strength in your journey that you can attribute to, hey, I'm a voice saying this, I'm a Black voice supporting this.
for sure. I definitely say in terms of a strength, I would say you're able to stand out a bit more, right? Because again, in the nail space, there are not a ton of there are not a lot of, Black, female creators who create my type of content. So I definitely do think there is a bit more of, you do stand out a bit more. And again, because of all your experiences, you have a very unique perspective. I remember, especially when I go to like events and things like that, people would be like, oh, wait, you have such a unique perspective. I've never heard of this before. And I'm like, of course, because you know, I am different. Like a lot, my background, my experiences,
Right.
the way I was upbringing. So I do think that because there are not as many of us here when you do enter different arenas, you do have a very unique voice, a unique perspective. A lot of people are going to be like, I've never met someone like you before. I've never heard of this before. Right. So because you have a unique perspective, right? So whether I'm at creator events, whether I would go to events at school, I would be, people would be like, that's unique. That's new. That's really refreshing. So because you are so unique, it's a little easier for you to be, to stand out, be more refreshing. Not because you have a different background, right? Because, you
have a different perspective.
Yeah, different perspective.
Yeah.
So definitely.
How is it for you? Because of course you grow this very naturally, right? How is it for you to know that so many people is watching you, waiting for you to lead them in a way with their nails. And I mean, I talk about this with Nora all the time. During my pregnancy, I couldn't do anything with my nails because I couldn't apply anything, right? But for especially my Latina blood, I'm like, I need my nails to be okay. And I'm well known to bite my nails all the time. It's a horrible habit that apparently I have got over. But for how long? That's the question. But it is something that says more than these are my nails for us. For us, is the representation, it's part of your outfit, as it's part of your identity. It's a whole different level, and that's the point of view that you bring to the table. But how is it to know that you are leading this movement for everybody?
Yeah, no, definitely not going to say there's a bit of pressure there. Like anyone who ever comes into my corner, like I feel 100% responsibility to get them like results and really do whatever it takes. So I literally tell my clients, like, I think about your nails all the time. Right, like all the time. Like
I love it.
when you come to me with like a problem, like my entire weekend is like occupied with like what's happening to your nails, right? Why is it tearing in that direction? Why is the corner there? Like why? Like what is up? So definitely for me, like I have an immense amount of gratitude for the people who trust in me. But again, for me, it's like not just, let me just, put a video and like whatever. It's like, no. I want to make sure you get results. And I also want to make sure that you don't run into issues, right? So for me, there's like a lot of pressure because again, if someone has a nail issue, I'm like super concerned, like what's going on? Like, how do we prevent that? How do we circumvent that? So it's like, no, like I'm like that's why like now, like before I would, post videos, but like now I'm like, you know what? If I say it this way, is it going to really make sense? Right. For example, I used to like,
more intentional.
Yeah. I used to do like, hot oil treatments. And then I get questions. Okay, so do I boil the oil? I'm like, no. So then I stopped saying that. So like being like very like careful. Because again, like people do go out and do these things and it's super important they do it in like a safe manner. So yeah, definitely, being very careful with what I say, how I say that there's certain content I used to create that I like no longer create because I realized that's not actually, there's some misinterpretation happening there. But again, it's a 15-second video. They don't understand all the nuances. So definitely, no. I'm very like, no.
Yeah. And I think that's something that many people don't realize when they are in the other side, in the buyer side, consuming this content, that we have to become so intentional for like, in my case, especially that I'm working with money mindset and clearing financial trauma, I say every time that you listen to one of my podcast episodes or any of my content, you will get one part of your financial life or your trauma clear because I'm being so intentional with my words and everything that I say, that I will make that happen. But people don't dimension the impact that a video can have or that a how-to can have. It's more than just the creation, it's the way that you are leading your business. So when people or consumers come to you, your clients, they feel they can trust you not only because they got results, but also because they understand on a subconscious level that intentionality. And I see it from your videos as well. I see the difference between somebody that tells me paint your nails this way to giving me the reasons why you should do these or why you shouldn't do that, right? Or what products to use or not to use. And I know I'm getting you curious to know what is the membership. So I am going to link it all below because it's amazing. But I want to tap in, Ashley, into the financial side, the money side of the things, right? How it has been for you, this journey of entrepreneur.
On this Black Business Owned Month, we are highlighting the story of amazing Black female entrepreneurs, business owners that are putting their services, their product, their innovations out there because Black women and people of color need more platforms to share the amazing creations that we all are doing. That's why throughout this month, you're going to hear the stories that Black female entrepreneurs building things that I couldn't even imagine it was possible. And here's how you can support all of these female entrepreneurs. Make sure that for each episode that you listen to, you share with somebody else. You share with that friend, that colleague, that person that you think it may be at interest of. And this is the most important part. We really appreciate that you go and rate and review this podcast. The more reviews and the more rating that we have, the bigger impact we can make. More people is going to know about this podcast. More people is going to hear about this female founder.
For sure. I definitely had a lot of money mindset challenges. Definitely things like, you have to work super duper hard to make money. And the idea that, okay, I can, obviously there is work to be done, but like every single, sale I make, I have to be really, really pushing it, really, really doing all this work. I think that was definitely a little bit of a setback because when certain things came easier than I thought, I'm like, is this a fluke? I didn't do all this work to get this result. So like, how did this happen? So definitely that was a thing as well. Also this idea of like deserving, right? I'm like, because again, there's always this, and there was a misalignment between what I was consciously desiring and what subconsciously was happening, right? And that is where you kind of get stuck where it's like, okay, great. I want to do this and get there, but you also don't really think you deserve it, or it takes all this work and all this stuff. So that's how I sort of noticed that I was stuck. And definitely in terms of like selling, my goodness. Oh, like selling was definitely that thing. I had so much, like it has such a negative connotation, right? Because we see so much bad examples of selling where people are pushy, they're just trying to sell you things you don't want. And I'm like, I never want to be that person. So that's why I tend to avoid selling. And not want to talk about my offer, not want to do that because I'm, bothering people. They're going to be offended, etc. So definitely, you can even ask Nora, like, there was definitely a period where she's like, okay, Ashley, is the way you're showing up aligned with your goal? I'm like, no, like, you have to talk about your offer, right? You have to talk about your offer, right? I definitely do think that was like the biggest transition, right? And now I went from like almost never talking about my offer to like talking about it almost every day. But that was such a massive transition. And, understanding what selling is, actually doing it the right way. And then no one really gets like offended. But no, this was the biggest transition, having to be bold, talk about the offer, going from, I would say, transitioning from more of like the creator mindset to like the business mindset. Cause again, there's like sort of this spectrum, like here's a creative, here's an entrepreneur, right? And, there's some people who are already on this side. And I was very much so on this side when I first started, doing the membership and really slowly sort of finding my middle ground. Now, do I really think I'm going to completely go to this side? Probably not, but that middle ground, but getting over the negative connotation with selling, being confident and bold in the offer and understanding that ultimately, your free content is amazing. There are people getting results, but there are also people who do need more help because they struggle with consistency. They don't know exactly what to do. And by you not talking about your offer, not showing them this option, you're actually robbing them of the opportunity to get their results, right? That was a big mindset shift that I made, that I'm continuing to make, but that was definitely very challenging in terms of.
I want to say something about that specifically for the people that comes from being the creator, from sharing their journeys and grow organically like you have done it. Because I have a lot of clients that this happens, and this is the thing where they get confused. We see people on social media with all of this amount of followers creating content, right? They don't necessarily have the business model and the structure that you guys are coming to me for. So just to put you an example, just like you, I have a client that is a photographer. She puts amazing content out there, right? And it's great. And she got like the shirts and all of that. But she was running her business like she was an influencer. And influencer, it's a business model in itself and works with different type of revenue streams, works with partnerships, with paid advertising, with all of that. Are you an influencer or are you a business owner running and doing other type of offers? That's when the mindset shift comes in. And not only the mindset, but the perspective about being a business owner. Because I still can show up and create content, but it's going to be a different type of content depending on your business model. And if you don't know your business model, then you have found the first step that you need to do to change that, right? It's not all about social media, because that's something that we have, like, they built us up to believe that the social media is what matters. And I think personally, what matters is the social media that can attract the customers that you want to for your business. Because if you're listening to this podcast, you are not an influencer. I don't know how to build you up to be an influencer. That is not my expertise. My expertise is building business owners, and that is something different. So thank you for sharing that, because it's something that a lot of people get distracted with the social media space. I'm curious to know, what is your vision for your business in the next year, in the next 5 years? What do you want to create? Where do you want to go with this movement?
Yes. So my goal is to obviously, number one, get women the beautiful natural nails they desire, but also just with simplicity. Because again, in the beauty space, there's so much complexity. There's a million products. You don't know how to use them. You need this product, all this 10-step thing. And, I'm like, where's the middle ground, right? For example, for the people who, you want to use a million products and do this 15, 20-step routine, great. But there are women out there who still want to look nice, want to have healthy, beautiful nails, and they don't want to be doing all of that, right? So I'm like, where does this simplicity come from, right? Where is this minimalistic routine where you can get the results and it be clear and you know exactly how to use it? Because again, there are, clients who come to me and, they'll tell me what products they use. And I'm like, that product works, but that's not the product I would recommend for your nails, right? That's another thing, right? So there's so much, confusion, products not being used correctly, not a lot of clarity about exactly how to use it. So really, continuing to help women get the natural nails they desire, but with simplicity, right? Bringing simplicity, right? It's also self-care, right? Even though, obviously for me, I'm still more on the technical side of like solving your nail problems. A byproduct of this experience is the self-care. Right now, I even have like members who are like, oh my goodness, I absolutely love doing this because, I'm, a busy mom and I generally don't prioritize myself, right? And the idea that this is so simple, I can just take 15 minutes out of my week to do such a simple thing. I'm taking care of myself. It's not like, okay, great. It's self-care, bath bombs, face masks, all of this.
Yeah.
It's a thing. So it really allows, obviously, more women to, number one, women to get the natural nails to desire with simplicity, and women to have more access to self-care and taking care of themselves. I'm like, that's such a sad thing that you never prioritize yourself. But I'm so glad that because it's so simple, you can just take that 10, 15 minutes out of your week to care for your nails. And I think that is like what's so amazing. So again, obviously, helping people solve their problems, helping women solve their nail problem, with the byproduct really being the self-care thing. And again, creating realistic, sustainable beauty routines. Because as we, obviously in, more in business space, we all know that complexity, things break easy, right? If you have this really complex way of doing something, it's going to break really easy. And there's so much complexity within the beauty space, right? So bringing that simplicity, the minimalism to get people results, but also allowing them, making self-care a lot easier. So yeah.
I love it. I love it because here's the thing. Imagine, yeah, let's scratch that. Remember, how do you feel when you see your nails and they look pretty? That they look like, oh my God, these are the nails that like your whole hand looks different. There is a reason why you don't get engagement rings with a bad nail, right? It's just like you ask somebody else to borrow the hand, like in TikToks and stuff, because nails, it's a whole thing. It's a mental thing for us, right? And for some men as well. I know a couple of them that they also are like, okay, very, very into the nails. But for women, remember how it feels to see your hands and what that reflects into your own mental health, into your own well-being, into your mood. Like, it's such a domino effect that you are making people aware of, that it goes beyond of just the nails. And I love, Ashley, what you do. Really love your process, because I got the pleasure to have seen your process, and that you got the, what is that?
That literally happens so many times. It's like if you make like a certain movement, it just does like that whole thing. Literally, like when I'm on Zoom with Nora, like sometimes we're talking and balloons would show up and she's like, what balloons? I'm like, why is there balloons here?
That is so weird. Riverside, please don't do that again. But what I was saying is that I have seen your process and it's so nice to see it. And to me, it is very important for people to get to know these voices because you have taken something that it was so personal to you, that was therapy, that was your escape when you were getting into this shape of go to study and do all of these things. And you have converted it into a whole new business. That right there is the entrepreneurial mind that we think we don't have it, but we absolutely do. It's just pack it differently, move through the steps that we need to move, and keep coming to it. Ashley, please let us know how do we can continue the conversation, where we can find your membership, and how people can get in touch with you.
For sure. So the name of my social channels are Powerball Beauty. You can find me on Instagram, Pinterest, TikTok, YouTube. I'm all over, same handle. So definitely feel free to go through the content. Also, if you are interested in actually transforming your nails in the next 30 days, I do offer personalized nail growth plans, right? So whether we're starting with thin nails, nails that are breaking, etc., I'm more than happy to guide you for a month. And also, if you're like, you know what, I'm actually ready to jump into the nail club, definitely feel free to go check it out at the Nail Grow and Glow Club and join for our trial period. Again, I'd love to help you with your nails. Again, I think about nails morning, night, evening, all day long. And also, I do have a blog as well where I post things a bit more in depth. So definitely feel free to check that out at powerballbeauty.com. Again, this has been such a pleasure. I absolutely love doing this. It's obviously great talking with you, Alejandra. And again, helping more women with nails, but also talking a bit more about like the creator to business experience. Because exactly what, like you said, with the whole influencer thing, there's difference between, creating, content for it to like sort of go viral and then creating content to actually attract and do things like that. And that was a huge transition for me. So I am very, very happy about that. And this has been such a pleasure.
Okay, but before I let you go, did you know that you have a space where your money mindset work is made extra simple so that you can increase your income, better your relationship with money, and grow your business in such a simple and easy way? Go to themoneymindset.hub.com and choose your path and start making those changes easily and effortlessly. That is themoneymindset.hub.com.